We love old cemeteries and churchyards, so come with us as we explore these places for the past. Unsurprisingly, it's an abbey and it's got a graveyard. I'm guessing there's nothing there that's very old. Let's go for a wee look. And here's quite an interesting marker. This is to William the Lion, King of Scots from 1165 to 1214. So this must be his final resting place. It would have been, in his day, a place to end up. It would have been roofed, obviously. There's lots of these bits here, which are the pillars that would have once held the roof up. So it would have all been a big, glorious, enclosed space. And that's definitely the first time that we've started a Places for the Past video with a king. As always, it starts off with a safety notice. If you get killed by a gravestone, it's your own fault. Right, let's see where we are. Oh, we're starting at 1798. Oh, and that one is quite cool as well, but it's in Roman numerals, so no idea. But there's a winged face, WMCH. This stone was erected by Margaret Hackney in memory of her husband William Crichton. Have we got a date? 1800. Yeah, so it's going back almost into the 1700s. That one, don't know, it's gone. And this one contains the mortal part of Anne Speed, who died in 1805. Oh, and this one is Poperi Recludator Aegustellus. Yeah, I think that's probably Latin, but I'm not entirely sure. And behind the Latin bit there's William Scott, in memory of his late wife. And behind that there's a really cool looking little private offset to the side with a big gate that I don't think you can get in. Unless you push it and it opens, and then you can get in. Right, let's go for a wee look until we get told to get out. There's lots of tiny little gravestones here, but they don't have anything written on them. But at the side, that is David Lowson Dixon, Commander Royal Navy, and James Anderson Dixon, and Amy Rose Black, wife of John Farquhar Dixon. So this is the Dixons' wee private bit. Hello to all the Dixons. You've got a nice wee corner here, apart from that drip that's falling right down on top of you. I wonder at what age it wasn't counted as infancy, because Betsy Scott died in 1870, aged 22 months, and Maggie died in August 1874, aged 16 months, and William, James and Daniel all died in infancy. Now I would have thought 16 months was infancy, but I don't know. And next to the Dixons there's another wee private bit, so let's go and see what we can see. Again, it's got little stones at the bottom. I've not seen that before. And this is the Oggs, the Reverend Charles Ogg, Robert Ogg, etc. So lots of Oggs. And on the stone it says CMO and DBO and TWO, so you can probably translate that into people that are mentioned up there. I do like these old inscriptions. I usually spend 5 minutes trying to decipher them. But this one says, "Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return to the God who gave it." If you like small details, you'll love this one. This is the backside of that stone we were just looking at, and it was erected by John Simmers. And if you look down here, it says John Simmers, but it's S-I-M-E-R-S, and the mason has put an extra little M at the top because it should be S-I-M-M-E-R-S. That's quite interesting. And past lots of stones that I'm sure are very interesting, but we don't really have time to look at every single one, and into the last of these little private burial grounds, which again looks like the ones along there. And this is to the Cargills. I think that's a Cargill, and that's a Cargill, although that's Thomas Whiteman, so it's to the Whiteman Gargles. We certainly didn't know that the Abbey had a graveyard quite as impressive as this. I know people got buried at Abbeys, I mean we have figured that out over our time doing this channel and before, but it's still nice to see so many gravestones that we weren't expecting. I walked round the corner and saw it and may have done a little squeak. And this one along here, I keep stopping. I could read every single one of these out to you, but it'd get quite boring quite quickly. But this one is in memory of Thomas Stevenson, Esquire, of Stevenson's Beth, Fifeshire, and also of somewhere Springfield near Arbroath. And he's a fellow of the Royal College of Physicians in Edinburgh. And right opposite that, there's David Stevenson, younger son of the late Dr. John Stevenson. And this is the back of the stone, so I'm guessing on the front of this stone it'll be all the Stevensons. Yes, Thomas Stevenson, MD, Arbroath. And right next to that is another surgeon. This is like a medical corner. William Alexander Wannon, physician and surgeon Arbroath, who died in 1911, aged 72. And also George Webster Wannon, his father, who was a surgeon in Arbroath. And Eleanor Edward Stevenson, his mother, whose job is not This place is amazing because usually we come here and we start to find newer gravestones, which, to be fair, are a bit less interesting. But look at this, erected by William Caithness, shipmaster from Arbroath, and his wife, in memory of their son George, who died in infancy, and also in memory of George Caithness, his father, and also of them themselves. The stonemasons here didn't have the great attention to detail because that is erected by Peter Duncan, owned labourer in Arbroath. But look at Arbroath, A-R-B-R-O-A, that should be a T and an H. He's done Arbroath and then added the top of it to make it say Arbroath, more or less. I love stuff like that. Okay, so this is sacred to the memory of Alexander Davidson, eldest son of Alexander Davidson, Lieutenant RN, that's Royal Navy, and Jean Dees, his spouse, who died the 13th day of April 1834, aged 18. And then it talks about him again. His amiable conduct and upright principles secured the respect and esteem of many friends who now lament his premature death. But nothing again about his spouse. This one's quite grand. I'm loving these stones and I've only done the first row. Yeah, I don't think I'll be showing you them all today. Right, I think we will head over onto this row because the light's a bit better and it looks a little bit more photogenic. So we're missing out all these guys. Sorry guys. Oh, apart from you, Alexander Lowe, who's a stone carver. And you can tell he was a stone carver because he's got the best carved stone in the graveyard. I bet he did that for himself. It must be just to try and squeeze as many in as possible, but I don't think I've ever seen quite so many double-sided gravestones where they've got a list on the front and then on the back they've got an "and" also, so there's a little addendum on the back. Well, there's a draper, Charles Wilson, he's got quite a nice tombstone, and next to it there's a really nice obelisk that is at a bit of a jaunty angle, but that is William Bruce, H-E-I-C-S. I don't know what H-E-I-C-S is, we'll have to try and find out, or not bother. Oh, next to it there's a lovely script on that one, look at that. That says, erected by George Hill, Merch, Arbroath, and Elizabeth Maud Mall, his spouse, in memory of George Hill, their son, who died 14th of August 1780, and also here interred Mary Dowd, who died 12th of December 1782, aged 82 years. I'm sorry I was breaking that one up a bit. That script is actually quite hard to read. Right, we're going to keep walking along here and head down towards a couple of quite impressive memorials that we saw further over. I'm sorry we don't have time to go around every one of these. I would love to, but nobody would watch an entire episode and would lose subscribers. And we've only got a few at the moment, so we want to grow this channel, not scare you all away. So let's go and find some more interesting stuff rather than reading every single gravestone. It's not a private chapel, but that is a massive gravestone. Peter Findlay from 1777, and lots of other Findlays all the way up to the mid-1800s from what I can see there. Oh, and this is the back of a stone. We'll look at the front in a second, but it says, prayer is the Christian's vital breath, the Christian's native air. His watchword at the hour of death, he enters heaven by prayer. So let's go and see who is the pious person with that on the back of their stone. Erected by Helen Mill in memory of her husband James Fife from the late 1800s. A lot of people put up gravestones just to show off, to show how much money they have. Their gravestone is bigger than anybody else's gravestone. So let's play along with that. Let's go and look at some of the big ones, like that one there, which has got an urn at the top, and it is Reed, to the Reed family, because it's written in big letters in case you didn't know who the Reeds were. And nowadays, probably nobody knows who the Reeds were. Oh, I do quite like that one, but it's quite difficult to read. Erected by Mary MacDonald. Let's see if we can find a date. 1851, I think that says. These are all so cool. I could spend all day walking about this place just reading gravestones. Wouldn't be much fun for you guys, but I would absolutely love it. This is an incredible place. It just is. And we were heading along here because we said we were going to go and look at the ones that stood out. And there's somebody who's got a massive obelisk. And the reason that he's got a massive obelisk is he is James Kay of Woodside, who was provost of this borough, so a big name between 1830 and 1832. He died in 1845. Oh, and over there behind it, does that look like a rusty monument to you? Let's go and see if somebody has got a cast iron tomb marker, because that looks like that's what that is, but I don't know because I can't really see from here. I'm guessing it is. It's the right colour and it's got the right sort of, yeah, that is really quite impressive. It is indeed a cast iron monument, open in the middle, so I don't know where the bodies are, probably underneath. Right, this will impress you. It says MD CCC LXV. Now the M is 1000 and the D is 500, so that's 1500, and the CCC are another 300, that is 10, 15, 1800. The L is 50, the X is 10 and the V is 5, so that is 1865, and I did not just Google that, honest. This is the side of that same thing, and it is to the memory of Margaret Rattray, and this is something I've not seen ever on a gravestone. Died aged 72 years and she is embalmed. And just while we're here, say hello to Edward Strachan, who was a painter, and his family, obviously, because the women are often demoted on these gravestones. So hello to Edward and the rest of your family, especially Elizabeth Balfour, who had to put up with Edward and had to have all those children. Right, and another dominating sort of gravestone is over here to the memory of Mary Colville, wife of David Ludson. Again, he was a town clerk. He was the town clerk of Arbroath, and that's why he's got this big and very conspicuous gravestone. But we're heading over this way because I saw an even bigger and more conspicuous gravestone that we're going to go for a wee look at. But we might just have to detour over this way first, because look at these. It's like a forest of obelisks. I'm not going to try and squeeze through there, I'd probably fall over. Yeah, this is more of the properly great and the good, so let's see what we can see. There is James Matheson McBain, an accountant in Arbroath, and sorry about the sniffing, it's rather cold. And Reverend William Hannay, late pastor of the Second United Associate Congregation Arbroath. And then we've got Mary Jaffrey, wife of Reverend Alex Sorley, and Reverend Alex Sorley will be on there somewhere as well. Yep, there he is there. So this is all literally the great and the good. Right, and the stone that we're heading to have a wee look at, which might be about the last one that we do today, but first let's have a look at this. Okay, this is the third attempt at doing this bit, but that's a nice stone. There is a winged cherub, but the winged cherub has got a funny sort of curly wig on, and it says, "Mercy, good Lord, mercy we ask." I wonder if he got his mercy he was looking for. There are always gravestones that look out of place, because you look at this, it's all old sandstone, and then you get this one, which is, I'm not going to say modern, because the most recent interment on it is going back to 1941, a poor guy that was killed in the Second World War, but that's not really in place with what's round about it. It's interesting, it's just the way these places lay out, I guess, but it's nice to see so much of the old stuff is still here. Sorry, sidetracked. Here's another thing that I've never seen before. This is put up by Margaret Teviotdale in memory of her husband George Dick, but look at this. Died big line July 25th, and I was trying to figure out why it had the big line, and the reason it's got the big line is to make the dates line up, because December obviously is a big word. So underscore July, underscore February, underscore April, although February has been abbreviated, so I don't know if that's right, but all the dates line up and all the born and died lines up, so I'm guessing that's what it was for. February was just called Febby. They could have actually fitted all of October and all of February in, or they could have shortened December. Right, and this is the last wee corner. There's quite a big and impressive stone on the floor there, and there are, now that looks to me like there's been two figures carved there. That's a lady figure and that's a gentleman figure, and above them it says IPMC 1674. Oh wow, that is the oldest gravestone that we've found in a graveyard, if that does indeed say 1674. What do you think? That's definitely a 16, and that's definitely a 74. So yep, I think that's possibly the oldest thing we've found, and it could have been that it was once actually inside the main building, because if you look at the alignment, it comes out this way and it's a similar sandstone, etc. Don't know, that is a complete guess. I am going to go and see if I can find out, because that is really interesting for a given value of interesting. Yeah, slight update, looking at the back of that thing that we just looked at. So that is the Abbey over there, and that's the back of the thing we were just looking at. Yeah, I think that is actually really, really old. And that's it for this episode of Places for the Past. We do hope you've enjoyed it, and if you like graveyards as much as we do, remember to like and subscribe, because we've got lots and lots more to show you.